Talking Music with Big Andy. This week, Yuka Tree are talking music with me, Big Andy. Hello and welcome to the podcast. This week, I have with me members of the band Yuka Tree. Hi guys. Hi.
Hey.
Would you like to introduce yourselves and tell me what it is you do in the band?
So I go first. I'm Kieran and I'm a singer. Sometimes play guitar, but not very often.
I'm Oliver. I play drums.
And I'm Jacob and I play guitar.
Right. Are we missing anyone?
Yeah,
we're missing two.
I was going to say more of you.
Yeah, another guitarist and the bassist. It's Louis and Joe.
Right. And you're another band from Manchester. As I was saying to you guys, I've already done a few bands from Manchester. There seems to be quite a scene going on around there at the moment. And it's an interesting scene for me because I personally don't think all the bands, there's not the sort of the sameness to the bands. The bands are very different from each other, but you're all complementary, if you like. You kind of all still sort of follow each other and work in the same places, and it seems to be like a really quite a cohesive scene going on at the moment. Do you know how that came about? I mean, it's kind of, is it a full movement or is it just a chance?
Who wants to take that?
That is a really good question. I honestly, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it just sort of came about quite organically, really. I don't think there was any specific spark that sort of ignited it all. I think it just sort of happened. I think you're right in that, like, in terms of the sound, that there is a lot of differences between the bands sort of coming up in the same place. But I think the one thing that, like, we do all have in common is we're just trying to do something a bit different, and we think what we've had in this kind of music in the last 10, 15 years maybe it's got a bit boring, a bit stale, and we just want to try and do something different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no.
I think as well with kind of obviously the cultural heritage of Manchester, that plays a big part, maybe not so much in the sound anymore, but definitely in terms of creating that scene. I think, as more and more people go to university now, people all over the country are moving to Manchester and doing creative things. I think, that kind of influenced you moving up to Manchester, didn't it, Jacob?
Definitely.
Yeah.
To be fair, definitely.
Yeah, like I've moved over from Sheffield. And then we've got Kieran over from Stoke and Jacob up from London. So I think, that kind of makes my point, doesn't it?
Yeah. Now, I was quite interested to see that I found it difficult to find out anything about any kind of specific genre for you, which I think is a good thing because personally I can't stand that whole sort of putting people in pigeonholes. But the one thing I found repeated over and over again was that you are stylish and durable. Now, that to me describes something like a plastic chair. It doesn't necessarily describe a band. So what does that actually mean when it comes to your music?
Kieran, do you want to say where that came from?
I was just, to be fair, I thought did you not pen that? Where did that come from?
That came from, so the bassist, it came from Joe, yeah. So Joe is the bassist, he's an artist as well, and he made some leather boots that he painted. The Yuka boots that he painted with kind of a Yuka Tree emblem on them, and then he wrote stylish and durable on them. And I think, yeah, and then I kind of took that because I thought it was kind of, I'm like, interesting, but also quite funny. And like you say, it kind of, it's difficult when you have to write kind of biographies and whatnot. And, you know, people want you to put a genre, but, you know, I think the band themselves are probably the worst people to kind of say what genre we are. You know, we just make what we want to make. And I guess it's for other people to decide what we, you know, where they want to, where we sit in, you know, in their kind of understanding of music. So yeah, that was kind of a way of getting out of saying anything too concrete, I guess.
Well, yeah, I mean that's reflected in the mixture of us that make up this band, I think, because I think we all have different styles of music that we listen to. And so it's really hard for us to then decide we are one specific thing. We're going to fit into one group where we all kind of listen to different stuff and take ideas from different places. So we don't want to just be a bit boring and just put, oh, we are X type of band, because we feel like we're a mixture of lots of different things.
I think that's probably quite common and true of a lot of bands nowadays, is, you know, they don't want to put a specific name on it.
Yeah, it's one of the things I've noticed talking to a lot of bands. It's like the bands nowadays don't seem to want to define a genre for themselves because of the fact that it's you know, you want to play what you want to play, and that doesn't necessarily mean that one single is going to be the same as another single or whatever. But it's places like Spotify and the music press and that sort of thing. They want to kind of pigeonhole you so that they know where to put you, if you like. But then you get sort of catch-all phrases like post-punk and indie rock and all this kind of stuff, which don't really mean anything anymore because there's so many different styles of music that come under those titles. So yes, you only have. Sorry, you were formed in 2019. Is that right?
If you probably know more than us at this stage, if that's what we've written somewhere, then that's correct.
Right.
Was it not 2018?
I think it was 2018.
Oh, right.
We played our first gig in 2019. Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think 2019 was when we decided on the name.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But like, yeah, for a few months before that, we just
didn't we?
Yeah. But yeah, the pandemic has. Yeah, exactly. The pandemic has kind of, I don't know, messed up all time perception, hasn't it? Like,
Yeah. I was going to say, I mean, you've only got one single out at the moment. That's it, which is Preacher, which, to be honest, I really love. I think it's great. For me, it's kind of I like the odd timing of it. It's not a kind of straight 4/4 sort of like, I don't know, punk or whatever, you know, rock song. It's kind of, it's got this kind of strangeness to it, which kind of separates it from lots of other stuff that's out there. I'm assuming that was deliberate, not just a happy accident.
No, it's just none of us can play in time. That's all it is.
So who actually wrote that? Or was it a joint effort?
Well, Louis, who's the other guitarist who's not here, I think he came up with the riff initially and brought it into us. That was one of the first things that we started playing around with and jamming with.
What's slightly different though? It was different literally right up until the day that we recorded it.
Oh, it was different.
Changed.
I forgot.
Louis
Yeah.
we got the song like just around the riff basically, and then we went to record it, and the producer just was like, "You need to try something like a little bit more." But I don't know what the right thing to say. Just a bit more out there. It was all just like quite like samey, and then Louis I think he just like done it on the day, and the riff got changed, but the first riff is where the song's all like built from. So Louis wrote it really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we were in the studio, and the producer was just like, we just gave Louis some time, didn't he? And was like, just kind of jam, and he came up with loads of good different bits. Yeah, and that's how kind of a few different riffs came in, didn't it? Like after the first chorus, you know, he does that kind of thing, and then yeah, he mixes it up throughout the whole song. That song went from kind of a really straightforward song to play on guitar to a nightmare because he was just kind of riffing on the spot, and then he was like, "Oh no, I'm going to actually have to learn all of that."
Well, that's the thing. I think whenever we do it live now, his part is a bit different every time because it was written in such a sort of off the cuff way.
Yeah.
But I don't mind that personally.
The band only have one track on YouTube at the moment, which doesn't have a proper video to it. But let's have a listen to it anyway.
My old man, he wrote the Bible on the back of a napkin on a dirty table. And he looked with clear pride as he admired the way that he shouted to me. He said, "My son, I've written the Bible, and when you're older, the rules I'll confide in you. But until then, you do as I say. Look left and right, don't stand in my way." My old man, he wrote the Bible to science, repeats it in a vapid recital.
You know?
It's interesting. I mean, what you were saying about having different influences and that, there are different parts in that song that I listen to it and think, oh, that reminds me a bit of the guitar, the kind of slight jangliness to the guitar kind of reminds me of the Smiths, and there's a few other bands that come to mind when you're listening through it. You kind of go, oh, that's reminiscent of them, but it doesn't sound like them, you know. So what are your influences?
I think,
Good question.
there's probably a few things that are kind of common themes throughout the band. People like the Smiths, the Libertines. I guess that's kind of the common theme, isn't it? But then we all kind of branch off from there in quite different directions, don't we?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Kieran, you listen to a lot of hip hop and stuff like that, don't you?
Yeah, yeah. Lots
and
of
then-
sort of, like Libertines and Smiths and stuff. Yeah, but like I'd say recently, yeah, lots of hip hop. Jacob likes like metal and stuff. Like it's all a bit all over the place, isn't it?
Cool. Well, it's good to get different influences and bring something from each of them together to make something new. That's what it's all about. So, have you managed to play live much? I know the lockdown
No, recently.
hasn't helped, but have you done many live gigs?
Oh yeah, before the pandemic, we had a real good run, didn't we?
Cool. And are you planning on getting into the studios and recording again now that things are starting to lift?
Yeah, we've got
yeah.
one thing that's kind of in the works, and then ideas for EP, haven't we? Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, is it going to be like EPs and singles, or are you going to go for a full album? Or
It'll be EPs and singles. I don't think we're going to rush an album, but I would definitely think that that's on the cards at some point.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
anyone out there wants to fund us to do an album, then
Yeah,
Yeah, we wouldn't mind a few quid to throw at a studio.
yeah.
on down.
yeah, that's reasonable.
Yeah,
Most
I
people-
I think we're thinking of just sort of taking it slow. Like we've had so much time where we've not really been able to meet up and write together like we normally do. Because normally when we write songs, it's quite a collaborative process. It's not just one of us goes away and comes back with a completely finished song. So not being able to meet up properly has hurt us in that respect. But as soon as we can get to doing that, we want to keep getting new songs done. I think we've probably got a few that we're pretty keen on getting out quite soon.
right.
But yeah, in terms of an album, that's probably a bit further down the line. But we're definitely I mean, I would do it. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd do it. I kind of think that lots of bands like rush bringing out a first album, but at the same time, like, I don't think we'd feel like we'd have to reach like a certain stage before we did one, because I don't think any of us are in this to be like the biggest band. Like, I think we're just in it to like write the songs that we want to. So I don't think we rushing out to say that we're not going to stay our time. But like, I don't think we try and drop an album to get a number one or anything. Do you know what I mean? I feel like lots of bands do that, but they do it too early. I just think that we just do it because we fancied making an album.
Yeah, I understand.
We've kind of got a set of songs that we obviously wrote before the pandemic, and even those we'd kind of progressed in terms of our songwriting and our style quite a lot when we made those, since we made Preacher, the first single. So it'll be interesting to kind of see, you know, when we go back, start writing more songs, you know, how they're going to turn out, kind of, and just what it's going to sound like, really.
Yeah. So, I mean, have you had much interest in Preacher? Did lots of people been listening to it, and have you had any interest from radio stations or anything like that?
Yeah, a bit, yeah. Not loads, obviously, but like it's been played on like quite a few like local and small like radio stations. We got it played on the whose show was it on radio?
Oh no, John Kennedy. John Kennedy.
Radio
Yeah.
X.
The unsigned like show.
That was good. Good that it got picked up.
Yeah. We were literally told like, oh, it might be on Radio X at some point, and then like that night it was on or something, which was good.
Yeah, but yeah, the record label that we put it out through, 42's Records in Manchester, they've done quite a good job in kind of getting it out, and yeah, we had quite a lot of kind of local radio stations all over the world really were playing it, weren't they? I think we had Australia, Scandinavia places were playing it, so that was cool.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. So, obviously, I'm assuming you want to get back to doing gigs and all that kind of thing. Are you looking to do just small local venues start off with, or would you prefer to do festivals?
Anything, I would do absolutely anything. I put the time away.
Yeah, I mean, if there's one person there that wants to hear us play, then I'll go and play it. You know.
Yeah, no, I understand that. Completely understand that.
Yeah, we've got a good few shows lined up in Manchester, between kind of, well, we were meant to be playing on, was it the 17th of July, but that's had to be postponed until August due to the lockdown again. But yeah, we've got a nice few Manchester shows between now and December lined up in Manchester, and then we're looking to kind of play a few other places as well. Before the pandemic, we played a few different cities, didn't we? We were playing in Sheffield, in Stoke. We played a few times, and then we booked a gig for Liverpool, and then we had a couple of headliners in Manchester. But yeah, the Liverpool and the headliners got cancelled, didn't they? So that was a bit annoying.
It's been a problem. I mean, obviously, not being able to get together and that sort of thing. But have you been writing stuff separately, working on stuff yourselves that you can then come back together and work on together? Yeah,
we have. It's no. I mean, I can only speak for myself. Like, there are certain ideas floating about, but it's just. It's been so hard not being able to meet up, and for us especially.
It's like Jacob said before, it's the way that we write songs, isn't it? It's very much collaborative. Like it starts only with kind of a very basic stuff, and like the most kind of developed that songs are when Louis does them, and he'll kind of do a bass line, do his guitar part that he's writing around, and then he'll do kind of like a drum machine guitar pedal that he's got to add some drums on it, and then we kind of branch out from there. So it is yeah, it's been really frustrating for us, and especially because we've all been living in different cities as well, so it's kind of been extra hard to kind of get together.
Yeah.
I do think that without the motivation to play live, like I haven't been well anything really. Like as much as I like recording or practicing or whatever, I think like playing live is the thing that I enjoy the most. And like no gigs on the horizon. Like it's not been something that I've really focused on particularly. Although we've still met up a few times and we've been studio and like we've all kept in touch and made plans or whatever. It's not been like the thing at the forefront of my mind because there's been no gigs coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think to add on to that as well, it's like when you can't go and see bands live as well, like seeing other bands live, big and small, is an inspiration to us as well in terms of
Yeah.
how we want to develop our ideas, where we get new influences from.
Yeah.
Just the enjoyment of being in and around that scene and seeing new bands come through, makes
Well,
us want to do that more.
To be honest, that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this show, because of the fact that I I'm a bit long in the tooth now, but I spent a lot of my life around music and around the bands and that sort of thing, and I see there are all these new bands coming up and seem to be struggling with the whole lockdown and everything, and I thought, well, doing something like this gives people a voice, gets people, might introduce some new people to the videos, to the music and that kind of thing. And it's enjoyable for me as well, because of the fact that, there's a lot of bands that I've done like yourselves that I probably would never have listened to if I hadn't started doing this. Mm-hmm. So, it's a learning thing for all of us, I think. And it's a good thing to learn about new bands doing different things.
Yeah, absolutely. Like we said before, when we put out Preacher and it was getting kind of a lot of local attention in different places, it was kind of amazing to see loads of people like yourself, doing things like this, doing their radio shows, their like internet radio, or blogs. Yeah, it was so much interest on that scale, and it's kind of it's so nice to see kind of people taking an interest in up and coming bands, and because like you say, there's loads of good stuff happening at the minute.
Absolutely, definitely. Well, I hope that you get yourselves into studios and get some more stuff recorded, because I really like to hear what sort of stuff you put out. And I do like Preacher. I like the oddness of it, but it's also got a great kind of the vocals, the lyrics are very kind of quite hard hitting in a lot of ways. They tell quite a good story, and I like that.
Thank you.
I really do like it, and I hope, as I say, I can't wait to hear more of what you're doing and where it's going. I hope, as I say, you get in the studio and record some more stuff. I hope everything goes really well for you. And I hope to see you out there playing live as well, because I wouldn't mind coming to see you sometime. But I'm all the way down in London.
We've been trying to book somewhere, haven't we, Jacob? Hopefully we'll get down there sometime soon.
I'm a soft southerner, so it's one of those things. It's been great talking to you guys, and I wish you all the best with everything in the future. And everybody listening, look out for Yuka Tree and listen to their music. And if you see them playing live, go and see them. Thank you very much. And I'll see you again soon. Thank you. Bye.
That's one. Thanks a lot.
Cheers for having us on.
Please don't forget to click on like and subscribe to the channel. It'd be really, really cool if you could do that. And if you've got any comments at all to make, or anything you want to, any bands you'd like to see on here, then just leave me a note in the comments. Thank you. Talking Music with Big Andy.